guys, so I know a lot of you are really bummed, especially since the gyms have been closing down and we're all pretty much confined to our homes right now. So basically I'm going to go ahead and run through just as many exercises as I possibly can to give you that you will have access to in order to continue to maintain or even gain muscle at home. So basically in the gym, progressive overload is going to be the main driver of adding muscle to your body, and it's going to be very hard to achieve progressive overload unless you have access to something that can replicate a free weight exercise. Now some of the things that could do this are obviously dumbbells, which are free weights in themselves, but one of the main things that people like to have in their home is just simply a bunch of elastic bands with handles and maybe even a door stopper. So basically what these elastic bands enable you to do is have pretty much access to free weights in the comfort of your own home, because they can pretty much replicate any free weight exercise. So basically what I'm going to be doing today, if you do not have access to bands, I'm going to be giving you a couple of different exercises. I would seriously recommend that if you don't have access to bands, that you would preferably hit around four workouts a week and try to aim for a full body workout, simply because you are trying to maintain and not necessarily gain muscle. Also keep in mind that you can go a lot higher on the repetitions, that you can play with the angle, you can play with the tempo. There's a lot of different things that you can do that you can play with in order to add to the intensity of your sets. And you can also go a lot closer to failure since you are not using as much weight as you would if you had access to a gym. So you aren't putting yourself in very much danger going extremely close to failure. So for those of you that do have elastic bands in your homes, I'll be going over a couple of different exercises that you can incorporate as well. Now, if I were you and you have a band set at home, I would suggest trying to stick to your original workout split that you were doing before with access to the gym, so that you can pretty much hit every single one of your body parts using multiple different exercises. So I'm going to go ahead and run through a bunch of these. So yeah, let's get into this video. Okay guys, so the first exercise that we're going to be running through is just a super basic push-up. Now I'm sure you guys already know how to perform one yourself, but what I want to give you is a couple different tips and tricks in order to either add to the intensity or target different muscles during your push-up. Okay, so obviously the push-up is going to hit a couple different muscles, but the main ones are going to be your chest, your anterior deltoids, as well as your triceps. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to recommend, so I would seriously recommend trying to elevate your feet somewhere, is going to replicate an incline barbell press. So the higher that you can get your feet up, the equivalent would be a higher, steeper incline when you're working on a bench. So basically, this is just one example of what it would look like. So you can see with that exercise, I'm going to be targeting a lot more of my upper chest, simply because the range of motion is going to be a little bit larger than your normal push-up set. All right, the next one is also super basic, but if you want to target your triceps more, this would probably be my biggest recommendation as far as a tricep exercise goes, if you do not have access to a band. And basically what that's going to be is a close grip push-up. Now you don't have to put your hands ridiculously close. Basically what it has to do with is how you're pushing compared to where you put your hands exactly. So my hands are a little bit closer, but what you want to do is you want to fold your elbows first. So fold your elbows first, and then push up with your triceps. Elbow first, push up with your tricep. Elbow first, push up with your tricep. So as opposed to pushing more with your chest or your front delts. Okay, so the next thing is a different form of a push-up that's going to basically target your anterior deltoid more, because the original push-up is going to do a lot for your chest, but if you want to focus that anterior deltoid a little bit more, go ahead and go a little bit wider and focus on bringing your elbows out to about a 90-degree angle, and then push up, but push with your shoulders. Yeah, so I can already feel it. It's happening right here. If you can focus on just contracting your deltoid at the very top of the movement, trying not to get your chest too activated, but once again, your anterior deltoid works a lot when your chest is working, and your chest works a lot when your anterior deltoid is working. So basically, if you do have access to a band set at home, this would be my recommendation to make these extremely challenging. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the band on either side, sort of running up your tricep and onto your back. And then you're going to get down on the floor, similar to this, and then press up like this. And basically what that does is it just adds extra resistance. So you can get more resistance bands if it's still too easy for you, and you can make these things really hard. So I seriously recommend trying to do these if you have access to a band set, because it pretty much replicates a bench press. Okay, so for the next exercise, this one is extremely useful, and it's basically, it's going to be a dip. Now a lot of people don't have access to a dip bar, but they do have access to something similar to this. You can see this corner right here in the kitchen. You can also see this corner as well. So most people have access to something like this, which is why I've chosen to show this to you guys. And basically, what's going to happen is you want to put your hands right here and pretty much just perform a basic dip. If you have access to a counter like this, you're going to be able to perform dips. If you have any sort of thing that weighs a substantial amount of weight, you can try clenching it in between your legs and trying to add a little bit of weight to an exercise like this. But it's super basic. Hands right here, down for the dip, up, down for the dip, up. Just like that. And you can do plenty of sets of those, and that's pretty much, I would say that is one of the best exercises that you can possibly do at home without any equipment, simply because it's one of the exercises that you do in the gym, one of the best exercises for chest development. So definitely solid. And then you can also do the same exact thing to target your triceps more. Just keep your body a little bit more upright and do the exact same thing as if you were doing a tricep dip. Now we've already hit a little bit of our anterior deltoid with those different kinds of push-ups that I was showing you. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you one more that can definitely help you. So basically what you're gonna wanna do is going to replicate an overhead press, but the range of motion is not going to be that great, simply because your head's going to be in the way on the floor. So elevate yourself on a couch or something like this. Crawl your way out, stick your butt high up in the air, down, up. And then you could also basically do a handstand up against a wall and do the exact same thing as well, but that's going to be a little bit more challenging. If you do have a band set with you at home, there are a bunch of different exercises that you can do. Simply doing one like this, just a simple overhead press, that is going to be really helpful. You can even do, step on it a little bit tighter and just do single arm. Those are going to be great as well. And for lateral raises, to hit that lateral part of your delt, what you can do is just simply an exercise just like that. It's going to hit the lateral delt. So far we've hit in the anterior as well as the lateral. And then after those, you can also do something like this, which just mimics an upright row. Also a very great exercise for the lateral delt. You just have a lot of different options. You can also do just basic front raises for your front delt. There are just so many things. You just gotta get creative with it. Also, if you don't have access to a band and you're really trying to hit that lateral head, basically what I have here is just a bar that I pulled out of my closet. It's one of the things that my clothes hang on. It's made of metal, but you could also use a broomstick or something like that. Put anything that is substantially heavy inside a backpack or something like this, and you can do upright rows. You can go a little bit wider too, just to make it a little bit more challenging. All basically the same principle, gonna hit that lateral head. But yeah, you can definitely fill this thing up with a lot of weight, and that is really going to help you out. All right, so this is just another one for tricep. I'm gonna run through this, obviously super basic. Put your band through a door and then just extend. Now you can play a lot of different things. One of my favorites is to come down here like this and do a single arm extension, just like that. But if you prefer to do it this way as well, that also works, just like this. But it's all basically the same principle to hit that tricep. Okay, so for this next one, we're gonna be trying to replicate a fly. Now you can just do a basic fly with a band and then attach it to a door, but this one is going to be for the people who do not have access to bands. So basically what you're gonna wanna do, try to find something for your knees because you wanna do it on a hardwood floor so that it's slippery. Basically what I have going on here is I just have two shirts laying on the ground, and so I'm gonna get down here. You can do it on your knees, but you can also do it on your feet. It's your choice. The knees are going to be a little bit easier, so you'll probably be able to do more reps while the feet will be harder. Alright, so those are just a couple examples of, and you can really play around with tempo, slow things down if they're a little bit too easy, maybe go up on your feet. There's just a lot of different things that you can do to really stress that muscle more. Alright, so this is going to be one, I'm not sure if you have a pull-up bar at home. If you do not have one, I seriously suggest trying to get your hands on one. You can get a super cheap one that you can like put in the doorway or something like that. I think pretty much everybody should have one of these in their home just because of how practical it is, and you can learn to do pull-ups without having to go into the gym every day. Okay, so to these pull-ups, obviously you're going to go a little bit wide grip if you really want to target your lats. Now, if you're looking to target your biceps more, I recommend doing the chin up, just like that. And if you are looking to target your forearms a little bit more, I'd seriously recommend doing close grip over the bar, if that makes sense. So that's going to target your forearms quite a bit. And that is an incredible thing to work out. Okay, so for any of you guys that struggle to do pull-ups, but you're still trying to get the volume in, you probably do like lat pull-down machine or something like that at home. I'd seriously recommend trying to get a band if you have access to one, and basically putting it just right up here, as you pointed up there. So you're gonna basically wanna do this, put one or two knees or possibly even your foot into it, and basically what that's going to do is it's going to reduce the amount that your body weighs. So then you can do a lot more pull-ups. And obviously the stronger the band gets, the more it is going to help you. So then also, if you have access to a band, this is super, super basic, but you can do normal curls like this. One thing that I really like to do is going from across the foot, curl up just like that. Hammer curl, that's one of my favorites at home with a band. And then also something like this that basically replicates a preacher curl can be done. If you get down in sort of like a squatted position like this, and then focus on just curling in. Yeah, this one is killer, guys, because preacher curls, you do not have to curl that much weight for it to feel like a lot of weight. So this is really going to help you hit your biceps, especially if you don't have access to a lot of weight to curl. So if you guys do not have access to a pull-up bar or a band set, it's going to be a little bit harder. Your biceps are going to be a little bit of a harder muscle group to hit. So what I recommend is pretty much finding anything that has a substantial amount of weight. As you can see, we have a bag of potatoes, which just works perfectly. But what you could do is you could get like a backpack or something like that and fill it up with a bunch of different things that weigh a lot, and then just practice single arm curls like so, hammer curls, or just normal curls. And then you can even do, or you could do preacher curls like this. There's a lot of different options. You really got to get creative with these things. Another example of an exercise that you could do with this is just a simple curl. Once again, you probably won't be able to fill this up with somewhere around like 70 pounds or something like that, where you can actually really challenge yourself. So focus on doing a lot more reps and going a lot closer to failure and increasing the intensity. And also hitting it at different angles. So if you want to like bend over, sort of do like an isolation curl with the same exact thing. The principles are all the same. Just try to increase your intensity as much as possible. This exercise is going to be for people who are looking to get a good exercise for their back without any cables. This is probably going to be the hardest body part to hit without any sort of free weight replication. So the first movement is going to basically work your whole back, but it's going to target different parts of your back depending on where your arm placement is. So these are called Supermans, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to lay like this on the floor and then go up like this for 1 rep. So right now, with my arms out to the side like this, I'm in the perfect place to hit my rear delts, as well as my lower back with pretty much every single one of these reps. I can already feel it in my rear delt. If you bring your hands to the back of you like this and focus on pushing up with your Superman, you're going to get a lot more lat and lower lat activation. And then if you bring your hands up to the front of you, this is going to be a lot more mid-back. So that's going to be your mid-trapezius as well as a little bit of your upper trapezius working. Okay, so now this exercise is absolutely incredible. Definitely one of the best exercises, especially if you don't have a pull-up bar or any bands. So basically what you're gonna do with this one is just gonna be a body row, but there's a bunch of different ways that you can make it a little bit more complicated. Now, some people are going to have a table such as this that you can sort of go underneath and pull up with, but I don't have any tables like that that are, that are stable enough for me to do that on. So basically I took these 2 chairs, I rotated them just a little bit. And what I'm gonna do, go ahead and go to the other side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sit here in between. I'm gonna get my hands on here. Make sure that these chairs don't fall over on you, but I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground, and then you're gonna put your butt on the ground. And then you start from down here, and you're gonna row upwards. And that one is definitely extremely hard to do, but if you are looking to make it even more challenging, what you can do is bring out another chair, like so. So bring out another chair like this. Come down here, bury your heels into the chair, and bring it up like that. And that is a great exercise. Full back activation, but I would say I mainly feel it in my lower lats. What we're gonna do next is get into the lower body portion of the video. And for this one, the first one, we're gonna be trying to hit our hamstrings a little bit. And this is gonna be a little bit of an isolation exercise. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna set a couch or something like that on top of your feet, just to keep you pinned down in the back. Some of you can probably just stick your heels underneath the couch or something like that. You're gonna wanna go down, catch yourself, and then pull with your hamstrings all the way back up. And these are about as challenging as you can make them. So if you want to make them a little bit easier, what you can do is just use your hands a little bit more. If you want to make them a little bit harder, don't use your hands so much. Try to work those hamstrings as hard as possible. So basically the next exercise is gonna be more quad focused. Basically what you're gonna do is just a basic lunge, simply like this. And if this works it enough, go ahead and just spend your time adjusting the tempo, focus on the eccentric, really focus on getting a good contraction in that quad. If those are a little bit easy for you, I recommend these. Trying to put your leg up on something like a Bulgarian split stance squat. And what you're gonna wanna do is just like that, go up and down. And those are a little bit more challenging. And if you have a backpack filled with weight like I was talking about earlier, just hold on to that, and that's gonna give you some extra resistance on the way down. If you do have access to a band and you wanna add a little bit of resistance to these Bulgarian split stance squats, just like this, same principle as pretty much everything else in the book, you come down and press up. You can definitely feel how much this adds. So that is another example. One thing that I've seen, I think Chris Bumstead did it first, so I cannot take credit for this one. But basically, what Chris Bumstead did, since it's really hard to replicate heavy squats, I think what he did was use a couch for hash squats, which is actually a pretty good idea. So you're gonna pick up a couch, sort of like this. And that replicates a hack squat very well. If you want to put the weight up a little bit higher, you can do that for sort of a front squat. Yeah, I really, really like that movement. Thank you to Chris Bumstead for the couch squats. All right, so another movement that you could do for your hamstrings is just something like this, which basically replicates a single leg deadlift, single leg deadlift. What you're gonna do is just come down like this, and then go right back up. That is very, very difficult. Another great hamstring exercise. So another way that you could do a hip thrust exercise to target your glutes and your hamstrings a little bit more without even the use of a band is just simply going one-legged on your hip thrusts. So instead of putting 2 feet on the ground, you just have one. Damn, I can't go too hard on these. I have to hit legs in 2 hours. Alright guys, so I pretty much run you through just exercises without bands and with bands that you can perform for your whole body at home. If you guys think there's anything that I missed or there's anything else you guys want to see, drop it down in the comments. Let me know. Also let me know if this video helped you guys at all, if you guys are trying any of these exercises or anything similar to them at home. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.